Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to Big Faces Worldwide. It's your boy Big Will, and I'm back with some boxing talk. Hey, listen, fellas, we got a hell of a matchup tomorrow night for the vacant IBF middleweight title. Now, this fight has major significance on the middleweight division for a number of reasons. Let me break it down to you, man. Canelo Alvarez holds the WBC and the WBA middleweight title, and we all know that he just signed the big deal with DAZN. So those two titles are over at DAZN. We also know Demetrius Boo Boo Andre. He just beat Walter the Executioner Kinwendakwa, something like that, the guy from Nigeria. He beat him last week for the WBO middleweight title. And we know that Andre is with DAZN. Now, Danny Jacobs, he's not yet with DAZN, but once he fulfills his contract with HBO tomorrow night, it's more than likely that he will go with his promoter, Eddie Hearn, and Matchroom USA over to DAZN. So it's Shell Jacobs win. DAZN will have all four titles in the middleweight division, and you know that's bad news for guys like Jamal Charlo. Let's say a guy like Jared Herder, who's planning to move up to middleweight soon, and some of the other guys over there at PBC, who's been having a hard time getting in the ring with guys from different networks and different companies, man. So the chance that PBC has at this middleweight title, I know PBC got to be rooting for Sergiy Derevyanchenko to win this belt. He's an Al Heyman fighter, and you know, more than likely he will continue to fight on the Al Heyman platform. Although he has been fighting on HBO, maybe he will stick to the PBC route. Al Heyman and them guys got a lot of dates coming up. It was announced Tim Smith, the VP of Communications for PBC, he just, he did an interview the other day with Ness from the Boxing Voice. Shout out to them dudes, man. Them dudes been in the trenches, getting a lot of good interviews for us, man. And he talked a little bit about, the things that PBC got coming up, and they were saying they got like 3 fights a month for the first 4 or 5 months of 2019. And that's real significant, man. We'll see a lot of those guys being busy because the second half of this year, man, was just trash as far as PBC is concerned, man. They have not been putting on the fights, man. Their guys have been sitting on the shelf, and it'd be a breath of fresh air to see those guys, mixing it up more often. But yeah, man, if Derevyanchenko goes over to stays with Al Heyman and, starts fighting on Showtime, then Jamal Charlo and the rest of those guys will have a shot at maybe fighting for that IBF strap should Sergiy Derevyanchenko win. Now, the flip side to that is Lou DiBella is his promoter, you know what I mean? And, Eddie Hearns and Lou DiBella has been they've been at odds as recently as about, this year they've been at odds a whole lot. But recently they become real chummy, man. They worked out a co-promotional deal with Lou DiBella's champion Tevin Farmer, and they may do the same thing with Sergiy Derevyanchenko should he win this title. It's been no secret that Derevyanchenko has not been happy with the purses that Lou DiBella has been able to secure for him. You know what I mean? And to no fault of Lou DiBella, a lot of guys don't want to fight Sergiy because, it's high risk, low reward. So, his purses have not been, substantial. So that's another, avenue where we see that Derevyanchenko is hungry because, he wants to be that guy to, to make it over that hump. You know what I mean? And the matchup between these two guys is very, very, very strange to to say the least, man. These guys have been sparring partners for many of years. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably heard this. Andre Rozier, was the head trainer for both of these guys. The guy Gary Stark has been like the second guy over there, in that gym, who's worked along with both of these guys for many years. But we know recently, a couple fights ago, I know Danny Jacobs had let Stark go. You know what I mean? So I'm sure there's some Stark want to get some get back for Danny Jacobs letting him go. You know what I mean? So that's added motivation to Derevyanchenko and Gary Stark to go in there and handle business tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden, man. These guys know each other very well. They sparred over 300 rounds, according to Danny Jacobs. When the fight was initially announced, man, they was making it seem like these guys were real good friends, and they didn't really want to fight each other. But it recently came out, and Danny Jacobs said, "Hey, we're not really friends. We're more of acquaintances. We get in there and we spar and we work together, and that's the end of it." You know what I mean? They got a lot of respect for each other, man, and they know each other very well. And how often do you see guys who know each other very well go into a fight and fight each other, man? You don't see that a whole lot, man. Very few times we have seen something like this, man. And because the guys know each other so well, I believe that we may be in for a lackluster fight. And the reason I say that is, when guys know each other, they know what guys, are going to do. They tend to be a little bit more tentative because they know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? But I do look for Jacobs. I will give the edge for Jacobs as far as explosiveness, man. Jacobs is the bigger guy. I know a lot of guys, look at Sergey and they see the 12 fights. He got 12 fights with 10 knockouts, and a lot of people think that he's very inexperienced. Yes, he's inexperienced if you want to talk about the pro level. But Derevyanchenko has over 400 amateur fights, man. He fought in the World Boxing Super Series over there. He had, like I said, 400 amateur fights, and I think he lost about 20 of them. So he has seen his share of different styles, different fighters, and he's been in the ring with all type of people, man. And Daniel Jacobs, he had 34 wins, 29 knockouts, with the 2 losses. He got one early in his career, where he was knocked out brutally. But shortly after, we found out that he had cancer. A lot of people contribute the cancer to him being knocked out. You know what I mean? But since he has been back, man, the doctor said that he would never fight again, but he worked his way back. He trained his ass off, man, and, he got himself in this position. You know what I mean? And I think that, Danny Jacobs is going to try to make the most of this fight, man. The fight with Triple G, I think that Danny Jacobs could have won that fight, but, he was in there fighting, in my opinion, he was fighting very, very too cautious for me. He was too worried about the legend of Triple G. Triple G punched so hard. Triple G, he punches your arms, your shoulders, everything he touched, he hurts. And Daniel was in there, and he was a little bit worried about that. And you could see that in the way that he was fighting, in his fight with Luis Arias, man. It wasn't a good performance by Danny Jacobs, man. I thought he was trying too much to knock the guy out, man. And, although he did, dominate the fight and win the fight, he didn't look too good. In his next fight against, what's his name, Masik Selecki, Selecki showed a lot of wrinkles in Danny Jacobs' game, man. Danny Jacobs got hit a whole lot in that fight, man. And, Danny Jacobs came out and said that, admitted that he underestimated Selecki. He was looking past Selecki, and, he was not expecting that guy to come out there and fight like that. You know what I mean? But we all know Danny Jacobs lives the fighter's lifestyle, man. He's training up there at the snack facilities, man, where he has all the top supplements. He got the top performing and enhancement equipment to work on. You know what I mean? Danny Jacobs is up there, and excuse me, man. Danny Jacobs is up there, with some top guys, man. Chris Algieri is his nutritionist. So he's doing everything right to transform his body and to be in a hell of a shape for this matchup, man. And, Danny Jacob walks around pretty much around his weight all the time. This guy's a straight-laced dude, no partying and all that shit that you see, some of these other boxers doing, man. Danny Jacobs is all about boxing and, and family, man, and it's shown. However, Derevyanchenko, he's up there in Colorado Springs training. Him and Gary Stark, man, they're up there, at the high altitude, man, trying to increase his stamina. I haven't seen a whole lot of Derevyanchenko, but I have seen some of his fights, and I did notice that he tends to fade sometime in the later rounds, man. And hopefully Colorado Springs, he's going to be able to pick that up. Now, both of these guys weighed in today. Both was on weight. I believe Derevyanchenko was 159.4 or something like that, and Jacobs were 159.6. Both of these guys look ripped and shredded. They do not look all drawn and sunken in. They both look good to me. And I'm looking for a very, very good technical fight because they know each other. Like I said, there's a potential for it to be a boring fight because they know each other so well, man. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I would love to see a really good fight from these guys, man. But here's how these guys match up. Take a look at the matchup between the two of these guys. All right, let's check out the height. Danny Jacobs stands 6 feet tall, while Sergiy is only 5'7". Danny Jacobs also has a 73-inch reach. Sergiy's reach is 67.5 inches. Now, the experience level, Danny Jacobs has 34 professional fights and extensive amateur career, where Sergiy only has 12 professional fights, and I told you he has over 400 amateur fights. I will lean towards Danny Jacobs as far as experience, but not by much. But he does have more experience at the professional level and also the elite level. As far as size, Danny Jacobs is taller, his reach is longer, and sometimes he has been known to blow up after the weigh-in, but he will not be able to take advantage of that on this fight because the IBF has a rule that you cannot weigh in over 10 pounds more than a 160-pound weight limit on the day of the fight. Now, as far as will to win, Danny Jacobs has been known as the run up on Charlo and talk about all the M's he's touching. He's been at the elite level for a couple fights now, and he's been making millions of dollars. He's a millionaire. Sergiy, he's hungry. He's not yet a millionaire. He's not been happy with his purses he's been getting. He brought his family over to this country to make the American dream, to live the American dream, and to become world champion. So the will to win, I'm going to have to give it to Sergiy Derevyanchenko. As far as power, both of them have over an 80% knockout ratio. So I'm going to say the power is about even. As far as athleticism, Danny Jacobs, he can work at very, very different angles. He can work off the back foot and the front foot. Sergiy Derevyanchenko, he's been known to, just be one-dimensional coming forward. Although he does have, he does throw very good combinations. Danny Jacobs has been known to start cold. He's been dropped by Triple G. He's been knocked out before. So if Derevyanchenko comes out fast and throws those combinations that he's known for, he can catch Danny Jacobs slipping and possibly end the night. Well, that's how these two guys match up. I hope Danny Jacobs is not overlooking Derevyanchenko, man. I know he wants to secure a fight with the cash cow Canelo Alvarez, man. And Derevyanchenko's gonna come to fight, man. This is why he moved here. This is why he brought his family here. It's to change his life and to change their life. He was working his whole life for this moment, man. Danny Jacobs is already a millionaire. You know what I mean? Derevyanchenko is not. Derevyanchenko still has that hunger. Not saying that Danny doesn't, but Derevyanchenko has that type of hunger where, you know, like I'm starving, and I want to, and I'm hungry. I want all the meat in the jungle. I want it all, and you know, he's gonna go out there and he's gonna try to get it. And the Miracle Man, Danny Jacobs, is gonna try to prevent him from doing that. It should be a good fight, man. I might be doing a live stream during the fight, man, with commentary, along with CMD Boxing Reports and Boxing Block Center. So I'll let you guys know about that later on. Be on the lookout for that tomorrow. We might do that there. If not, I plan on doing a video on the Pulev Fury fight before that fight jumps off. If not, I will do post-fight recap on that fight, man. But that's all I got for now. It's your boy Big Will. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, like button, and share this video. I'll holla back.